Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Revitalized Talk Show. We are on our journey towards July the 15th to the 20th for our inaugural retreat. And on this journey, we are introducing you to the amazing men and women who are kind of the foundation of why we're doing all of this. Revitalize is a annual community funded travel incentive program that we are hosting every year to incentivize teachers for their hardworking contributions to our communities. Today, I have a special teacher in the studio with us, and she is none other than Miss Dr. Should I stand corrected? Dr. Deborah Campbell. And Dr. Campbell has over 33 years of teaching, and her philosophy of teaching is based on a holistic learning and education kind of model. She believes that intervention has to be a family approach where parents are included in the behavior modification and perspective adjustments of the students. And her speciality is an intervention specialist. So you know that we're in for a really interesting conversation with Dr. Campbell today. And her um, philosophies and teachings and everything she has poured into creating her own school. So we'll be hearing further details from Dr. Campbell and finding out the heart behind why she started this school and how the school is progressing. And of course, through this conversation, I am sure that our audience will know why she was selected by Miss Melissa Darville from Shivers, Bahamas, to be a part of this inaugural retreat. And so I won't hold you back because I definitely want to give Dr. Campbell the opportunity to have as much time to share her story with all of you. So today, I welcome Dr. Campbell to our show. Dr. Campbell, thank you so much for being here with me. And without any delay, please introduce yourself properly to our guests here at Revitalized.
Afternoon. My name is Dr. Deborah Campbell. But first and foremost, I am so honored to be on today that I was selected by an educator, but in the form of also a parent who, she's been behind me about this program. At first, I didn't want to come on because she would, Ms. Dawa would tell you I'm always so busy. But I believe in education because I believe in our children and I believe in the progressiveness of education, of just being able to show the process of where our children can go in life. I mean, for me, I don't know about the rest of you because being an owner of a school, you will laugh because here I am sitting in an office, what I haven't been in for days. It's bad, but I have the school phone connected to my cell phone because I spend so much time in the classroom. And if I'm not in the classroom, I am up late in the night on the phone with many parents dealing with many issues. And I know it's more than me what would say the same thing. Teaching is not about only being in the classroom, by the way. And I don't think it's about the four walls. You know, when I have students sitting in structured desks behind their desk, teaching takes place anywhere. Our children teach us and we teach them. In fact, I recognized this years ago that when we as educators walk in a room, I don't care who says what. We've created so many doctors, lawyers, you name it. So When they say, oh, you're a teacher, I said, oh, no, I'm an educator. Because to me, those caps mean we walk with honor.
Yeah,
I, I wear it every day.
that's
Anytime
right.
I can see my students what I can take from a 1.5, and my students can, here in the Bahamas, they can graduate with 6 and 8 BGCSEs under their belt and doing well in college. Or if I meet up with the students, they say, Doc, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing this, that, and the next. It's an honor. It's an honor
Absolutely.
for me to meet up with my children. But when I say holistic, many times we make the mistake of leaving out the parents and the structure of the family and the home when we're teaching these children. And we forget that when that child walks in the classroom, they bring all of that into your classroom with them. And we don't connect with the parents.
Right.
Sometimes you're connecting with grandparents because they're coming from extended families. And if you don't, I don't care how long you teach, that child is not going to succeed unless you have a relationship with that family. You have to be able to
Mhm.
communicate with the family to
I love
know
that.
what this child is all about in the front of you, because we can miss, you have miscues at times. You see
Yeah.
the child is holding his head or her head, and a lot of times teachers are, oh, he's just being rude, or she's not connecting inside this room. And we tend to bring in so much of our feelings,
Right.
and we miss the place that that child is the priority. You know what I had to do years ago to help myself? By
Sure.
stating first and foremost that we only have schools because there's children for us to teach. But so I had
Mm.
to put myself, bring myself down, because you know us, we're just human. And sometimes we pump ourselves so
Yeah.
much up till you get irritated just by the fact that you at that board and you teaching all day and you doing this and I'm saying this and I'm saying that, and the child is not learning. Really
Yeah.
make that lesson about the child. And if
Right.
you make that lesson about your children in there, therefore you will succeed, because guess what? If the child is priority
Yeah.
and you went in there to teach that child, you would recognize that maybe even though that lesson may take 40 minutes, and to you, every child should get what you're teaching. That's not the case.
Right.
So therefore, you may decide, or when you go home, or maybe even later in the day, you say to yourself, I don't think Johnny or Pauline got this. So I need to go back in and I need
Right.
to use different strategies to get to this child.
Yeah.
And you will do that versus you being the teacher in your feelings and you say, well, I already taught all day. If they didn't get that, too bad. Too bad for who though? Because
Right.
no matter
Right.
what we teach, we have to recognize that the children need a foundation to go on. And it makes
Absolutely.
no sense continuing to teach and leaving this child with so many gaps that the child cannot succeed.
Build. Yeah.
No, you have to build on whatever it is, even if
Correct.
it means you starting over. And
True.
so that's what I find myself doing.
Yes.
I had to do in my school, coming in. I come in some mornings at 7:30 in the morning, not in the office, and I go straight to the classroom. And whoever's there, I start to teach. Yes, you could say, well, my school start at 9, but this is not a traditional school. My
Right.
school actually starts when I reach inside my gate. And I head straight to my students. I'm not going to the teachers. I head to a classroom and I teach my students.
Yes.
Because We can have so many titles behind our name,
That we
but
forget.
that we forget that we are
Mm.
educators first. Now, am I tired? Yes, I'm tired at times.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself frustrated? Yes, you find yourself frustrated, and you need that chance to
Yeah.
rejuvenate and catch yourself, but get right back and teach that class.
Absolutely.
Ask them what they dealing with.
Yeah. And what I do love about everything that you're saying is one, having that inclusivity with understanding the backgrounds of your students. Because sometimes you never know what the home environment is like. So you're meeting kids at different points of their life. They might have had an argument with their parents just before coming into your class. They might have had some situation at home before coming into your class. But if you know that student and you know the parent and you're building relationships, then it becomes a community effort for the student to be able to learn and develop. And that is an approach that is, as you said, an inclusive approach that is not often adapted by many teachers, because I haven't heard many teachers kind of take that extra step to learn more about the personal life and not just teaching. Teaching is one
And you
aspect, but understanding the dynamics of each of your students' life and everything else will help you to reach them more effectively. So I
yes, and
love that
and
approach and that thought process. And I'm thankful that a school like yours exists, because I've heard so much great things about your school. And I know that we
thank you.
have Melissa right next to you, and she was so excited to be able to nominate you for this experience, because
Yes,
she knows the heart behind why you're doing what you're doing and how you have kind of put this whole system together. So, what did you see in gaps? Because I'm sure that you may have taught at different schools before starting your school. What were some of the gaps that you saw in other systems that you really wanted to include in your school now that you had the opportunity to kind of build a culture of your own? Yeah.
well, well, for me, over the years, I recognize that even if we take a first stream class, you still in that class have three streams of children running. No two or three children is going to be on the same level in every subject area.
Right.
So does that mean we don't put them together? Yes, we put them together. Yes, they socialize. Yes, I agree. They should be in the classroom.
Mhm.
But does that mean that Susan may need 4 to 5 English language opposed to Johnny, but who only needs 3 to 4? As educators, we need to know that.
Yeah.
Now, my school is small. So financially, you would it would be too costly on the school at times to say you're going to have so many extra teachers for it. But I
Yeah.
thank God that I am in a position that you have to recognize that some of the top educators these days have already run into administration, which is
Mhm.
sad. Because I would say that they need to start paying them more to stay in the classroom.
Yeah.
Pay those passionate, because to be honest with you, the only thing what separates many teachers is the fact that they don't have that caring aspect.
Yeah.
When when we look at teaching, and when I think about in the past, when my teachers only, I went to school on the family island, and at times there were not all the textbooks, but
Right.
what I had with me was teachers would care enough to share it with me, whatever they had, and
Yeah.
to share with my classmates, and they knew my parents well on the family. They knew them well till they stop and they're talking, they're chatting. So they knew the situation. And I said, you know what? You can't throw that part away, because that there a child needs. He needs to know Dr. Campbell and my mother speaks on the phone. Not only that,
That's
my
right.
students have the cell phone number and
Yeah.
they can text me, they can call me if there's an emergency, and they do. I had over a year ago, I lost a student.
Right.
He died in December during our Christmas break. He had kidney problem. He had that issue,
Right.
and he passed away. And when he passed away, I was so surprised that within 10 minutes, I was one of the on break. I was one of the first person his mother and father called to be there. And when I got to the hospital, I was able to hold his hands, what was still warm, but to be there with them because
Yeah.
they needed that support. He was
Absolutely.
a beautiful person inside and out. And
Yeah.
he shared so much me and the students with him. But when I look at the uniqueness, many schools cannot say that they have that because you know what happened? We put too many red tapes,
Right.
too many
Yeah.
red tapes between us and
Yeah.
our students, and you have this, you have that. You have to go to this one first. You have to go to that one. No, no, if it's, and I told my children, even if it's in the night,
Yeah.
my phone is going to ring off. Send me whatever message you have for me. I'm going to answer you, even if I have to crawl out in bed. If there's an emergency, you call me. I'm coming to the house. I will go
Right.
to that house. If I can't get to your house fast enough, because you have the dynamic now that not only that we have single homes
Hmm.
in the Bahamas, and they need that support. But
Absolutely.
we also have a lot of, in the past years, many parents who are going through divorce. That's a loss for a child. So
Yeah.
many students, you're sitting with them, they're already battling adolescent, trying to take down notes, trying to learn new concepts, but also trying to adjust to
Hmm.
this, what I call a tear within their family.
Yeah.
So I make time for them. We
Right.
have the corridor, and me and my children can walk. We can walk and we can talk and you can share. They can text me. I told them if it's something what they may perceive to be dumb or silly, let me decide that. Send it to me. Let me make sense of it for you.
Yeah.
I don't mind wherever I am. And if you can't tell your parents that and you wish for me to share how you're feeling, then you let me know. And they do, because some I would really, I had a student what contacted me, and it's always during the break. It's not when school on.
They miss you too much. That's why.
No, and he was having a conflict with his parent, and he said, Doc, I think I'm just going to run away. And I said, when you run away, he said, right now. I said, really? How are you running away and leaving me at the same time? Just to stop him. So he said, Doc, you care if I run away? I said, yes, I care if you run away. I said, hold on. If you're running away, I don't need you to catch no jeepney. Don't catch no bus. Don't walk. Me and you can run away together. And I was able to put on my clothes in the night.
Oh
You're
my goodness.
tired, but I put, you throw your house coat on. And I said, I contacted his father because he was living in the house with his father. I said, listen to me. I don't need you to be shocked, but he wants to leave. I
Right.
don't want him to leave. He said, Doc, I going right down in that room to him. I said, no, no. I'm going to blow the horn. He's going to come out because he's running away right now. But I just want you to
So,
let him out that door. He's coming to me. It's a safe space. He said, okay, Doc. And so I blew. The father didn't come out the room. You should see him coming with his big bag. Oh, I'm going tonight. I'm leaving tonight. Fine. And he came with his bag, put it in the Jeep. I said, put it right in the Jeep. They come in the front, okay? Came with it. Wendy's was open. So I said, you hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry because you see, 15 now. I just need to get out of that house. So I said, okay, let's stop to Wendy's. I'm going to get you something. What you want? He said, number 10. Number 10 was, I think it was 10, the nuggets and the fries. I said, you want medium or large? Don't you getting me large? Okay, get your large. He said, I want a Coke. I said, fine, you can have a Coke. You're trying, just calming
Keep
him
him
down.
calm. Yes.
So I said, anyhow, before you run away, let me make sure you eat. So we eaten and we driving. We drove all the way out Cable Beach, sat on the beach. I said, Lord, if the police come in, you in trouble. So he ate his food. Then he started to talk and just listening to his story. So when
Right.
he was finished, I said, you want me to talk now? So he said, yes, mom. And then I told him, I said, I was in the same position as you. I
Mm.
said, I did all this. I wanted to leave my mother at least 3, 4 times. I said,
Yeah.
I would come home, have my little meltdown by myself, because in them days, you can have meltdowns with your where I having meltdown with my mother. You go to your room, you play mad, they call you out to have your food. She say, if you eat or you don't eat. I
In the
said,
business. Yes.
and you all in your feeling. You understand? And
Absolutely.
so I listened to him, and everything boiled down to the fact that he wanted again. His father promised him again.
Right.
Then yes, and you know them. There once all of a sudden is
It's
their
the
needs.
top
So
of the list.
I said, okay then. I said, how much money did your father told you he had this month? I don't know, dog. I didn't even ask him because he had promised me this. Now he's telling me I must go in my books. I said, what she had now? I already knew that he had dropped from a 3.15 to 2.63, something like that. I said, so what did he tell you to do in order to get here?
Yeah.
He said that his dad told him if he kept up his GPA. And so I said, okay, stop there. So 3.15 to 2.63 meant what? He said, I didn't keep up my GPA, but he know what I was going through. I was going through so much. So I said, okay. But what did he promise? I said, wasn't that a part of the deal?
Right.
Yes, mom. He said, yes, mom. I said, so okay then. So, do you think he was wrong to give you a consequences by not buying you? So he thought
Yeah.
about it. But I really thought if that was me and I was the daddy, I would have bought the thing. I said, really, you would have spent close to $300-400 on a game. So then he sat there and he laughed and he said, Doc, I know you. I know you. I jump inside this Jeep and I know you ain't carrying me where I want to go. I say, you never said where you wanted to go. So both of us laugh. I say, did you lock the door when you came out? No, because if I had locked the door, they would have heard me. I say, anyhow, we're going to drive up to the house, and then I want you to open the door slowly. Now he didn't know his daddy's still in the room with me, and go back in your bed. And he did that. And then I called his father and said, he's home. And he said, Doc, thank you so much. I said, see, because
You just need a
sometimes
minute. Yeah.
he needed that. And if I was in there, I wouldn't want you go to a friend or listen to a
Right.
friend, your parents, who would tell you, boy, you should do that. Run away, mind you. They ain't going nowhere. But he should run away.
Hmm.
So to avoid all of that,
Right.
and Miss Dowell will tell you, I've been there. She knows. She
Mhm.
knows it. And for me to even be on, I actually came on because to find a parent who still believe in what you offer after her child has left me was an honor for me to be
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yes. Just listening to your story, I say it often that teachers are not just teachers. They are the police officer, they're the
Okay.
counselor, they're the
Okay.
doctor, they play so many roles. And just in telling us your story, you were the police officer to make sure that he comes and he gets back home. You're the counselor to sit and talk with him. You're almost a provider to feed him when he's going through his
Yes.
moment. You wear so many hats as teachers. And I think personally, I find there's no compensation that can match any
No,
work that
our
teachers
our
do. Yeah,
our reward is just in being that good teacher. And
right.
so, like I tell my parents, because you have some children who would want to play games with them. So they would call and say, "Oh, so and so said he's not feeling well or she's not feeling well." And I said to the parent, "Are you leaving home?" So she said, "Doc, I have to go to work today." I say, "Tell you what, we have the beds at school in the
Right.
sick bay. I will go in there and I will check on the child, but I'm going to also teach that child today. Please bring them to school." So they come, they go in sick bay, I'm there with them. Then you hear 15, 20 minutes. "Doc, I feel better. I could go in class." There you
Right.
go. You're not staying home. You know what I mean? So you
Right.
have you have to weigh it all out. I don't wish
Yeah.
for you to be home. That's too many hours of task. And they don't realize the consequences of being out of school. They just feel as if I can catch up with this. I'm going to be able to do that. And that is not the case.
Yeah, and the more freedom the more that they can get away with, the more they will take. So
Yeah.
having a structured relationship and just how your school is set up to accommodate that, because in a lot of regular schools, that's not the case. Once a student sneezes, they call the parents to take them out of school because they don't want to contaminate the rest of the class, which is understandable.
No,
But
no, no. But
from
they can. You could wear the mask, but like I
right,
say, you have sick bay. So if you sneezing, you can be in sick bay. But at the
right,
end of the day, please have the work ready. I don't have a problem with that.
work
I just
and
want you to be here on campus. But
right.
another thing, what I wish that we would grow to. Many students today are more comfortable not even being behind the desk. And culturally, a lot of people believe that learning only will take place behind the desk. What
Right.
if you have a child would want to just sit on a cushion and do his or her work? Nothing is wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I believe and I'm hoping to God that we grow to that where the child can lay down, even on a soft rug, and do their work. At the end of the day, the work is done, education took place. That's it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We need to stop being so structured. Like
Yeah.
we create, no, and you cannot teach in a vacuum. These are the
Absolutely.
kids would have to go out there, and then that's reality is going to hit them. So what
Hmm.
are we going to do later?
Yeah. And the structures that was in the past, even in the workforce, is no longer the case anymore.
No,
Lots of companies have a more laid back structure when it comes to office work, especially if you're working in technology. You're either working from a couch or a hot desk. So one day you're here, the next day you might be on a couch, you might be
or they
somewhere in a
home,
huddle, or you're home.
they
Exactly.
home working, and they
You're
produce
home.
it.
Yeah.
Nothing is nothing is wrong with that, and I think COVID has helped out, not in terms of the deaths and everything, but in terms of how we had to move on to technology and
Yeah.
change the way in which we teach to
Yeah.
make sure maximize our students' time. So when I look at that, we've grown in terms of what we have to do to ensure that our children are learning.
Absolutely.
Because a child can take a phone and type you a full essay using their phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And do the research and everything. So you
Yes,
research it, read about it, and type it over on the same
yes,
phone.
yes, on the
It's
same phone.
no longer what we, olden days you would be like, don't bring your phone to school and everything else. But your phone is almost like your whole livelihood now. You can do so much education through the phone that you couldn't do before. And so that actually leads me to some of the questions that we've kind of discussed here on the show is how has COVID kind of impacted the way we approach not only just the classroom, but just everything around you, the mental health of your teachers, the mental health of your students, and just coping within the classroom post COVID now and kind of building new systems. How has your school dealt with that? Um, and then we want to say post pandemic now that we're mostly out of it. But yes,
Well, what we did when COVID was, you know, a lot of people say COVID is gone, but I don't think
right.
so. We've just adjusted
Hmm.
our way of coping and dealing with it. Was the fact that I put my children on shift system, meaning that we started school at 7:30 in the morning in class, and then we had some of the children online at that time. So we go from grade 7 through 12. So 7 through 9 used to come in 7:30 in the morning, and then they left at 12:15, then they went online.
Yeah,
Um, 10 through 12 came in for 12:30, and then they left at 4.
got it. Yeah.
But they all the core subjects they were in the classrooms for.
Got
You
it.
had to spend more money in ensuring that the desks were covered and everything for the children, separation of each desk, not having them close together, providing safety for your teachers. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I made sure that my children came to school, even
Yeah.
if you only there for the core subjects. I couldn't see them being home. Even the students didn't like being home.
Right.
They wanted to be able to interact, even if they were close to the teachers or they can see the other students. But when you're talking about your core subjects, we had to have an RP in those. I
Yeah.
put those on the back burner. All core subjects were run in school.
Got it. Yeah.
And that's how it helped us. So their BGCSE and BJC grades were very good
Hmm.
because we did it. Even my students, they helped them because examinations, national exams that year ran later. And we came in 2 weeks ahead of time to work
Yeah.
just to bring them back. Like, wait a second, you can't take exams being out of school this
Right.
length of time in the summer.
Right.
So they came in early before they took their exams.
Hmm.
Yes.
And how, mental health, even because I'm from St. Martin and throughout the Caribbean region, we don't necessarily often talk about the impacts that every catastrophe or trauma has on our mental health. And, we don't have a lot of dialogue around mental health. Is that something that you focus on in the school? Like, I know that you're spending more time kind of learning about your students and connecting with them, but have there been or has there been an increase similar to kind of global statistics where you're seeing more mental health issues within the classroom, whether it's from the student's perspective or your teachers? How has that been, seen? Have you been seeing it? And if so, then how has that been addressed?
Well, the mental health portion, we haven't seen a lot in this school dynamic because I think what has helped us to deal with it, if the parents see something, by 7 o'clock in the morning, I know that the child had an outburst.
Right.
If, yeah. So whatever it is, we quickly address it together.
Yeah.
This child needs more time out. We need to, and if you're on the phone, I'm telling you that phone helps so much. It
Yeah.
helps the conversation. And if the child is going through anything, you know it shows up in the classroom.
Absolutely.
You can see when a child is having an outburst that something is definitely wrong and you need to deal with it. Like I had one child lost two parents during COVID, two parents. So he had his child has had to be moved to live with the aunt, and the child would have normally come to school because the majority of my children, their parents, I would say they're more middle class. They drive their children into school, all of
Hmm.
that. But here it is. I have this child now. He takes the bus.
Right.
And another child could not understand why this child is taking the bus. So I had to do a lot of lessons in the class on the reality of debt,
Right.
looking at adjustments, everything. And believe it or not, it is okay to stop lessons and teach.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It is okay to address those conversations than to try to avoid it. So
Right.
then I will go in and we will teach that. Because if you don't, then when we avoid it, you know what I realize happens? We we see a lot of children who are not having empathy for each other
Yeah.
because we're not dealing with a lot of issues right in the front of them.
Yeah.
And so we can't have kids live in bubbles. You're not in a bubble.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you right out of your bubble when you reach here.
Yeah.
And we're going to deal with
Yeah.
the issues because to me, we are family. Children spend more of the daytime here with the school. By the
Absolutely.
time they reach home, they're tired. Parents coming from work, they're tired. And
Yeah.
what you find happen is children are not sitting to tables having dinners.
Yeah.
And I, me personally, when a child tells me, well, dog, I normally eat inside my bedroom, or me and my parents, we text one another in the house. Then guess what? That's a conversation I have
Mhm.
to have with parents. And I say, you know what? Do me a favor. This weekend, sit to the table. Oh, Doc, we haven't been, we were so busy. Then I have to say, please sit with the table
Yeah.
and ask him or her a few questions.
Yeah.
Like I have to prompt them, some of them, because
Mhm.
they are busy. Some
Absolutely.
of the parents, after COVID, they're trying to juggle two jobs to catch back up.
Yeah.
And you have to know that as the teacher and be realistic
Yeah.
to the point that you say to the child, okay, now I already know your parents don't have time with the assignment when lunchtime comes, when you are finished eating, start your assignments.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
can help you here.
Yeah.
So no matter what, our jobs do not stop.
Right. And what I think to what you're saying in terms of, just how you're dealing with mental health trauma or anything that happens in the class or in your school and in your environment is the impact that you're having is through communication. And a lot of
Yes.
times it's because of lack of communication or lack of being able to express yourself. That's what causes you to kind of bottle up all of these emotions, bottle up all these things, and you never get the outlet. And without an outlet, we tend to then go into our own spirals that may lead to negative impacts in the future. But I think one of the things that I'm hearing from you that I really appreciate appreciate is the fact that one, not only that you care about your students, but also that you're giving them this open door kind of access to you
Yes,
that
yes.
allows them to be able to communicate, and not just them, but their parents. I really want to know when do you find all the time to do this? But I know that there's a grace on teachers that is different from every other human, for sure.
Well, I know what I do. I try and then I write down every night
Mhm.
if I touch base, not in the classroom alone. Did I have a conversation, be it
Mm.
even for a few minutes, with a particular child within the week? Did I ask them a question? Did he say something to me? Oh, did I pass and saw that child just staring into space?
Right.
Then it's time I need to draw you in to something, even if it
Got it.
mean you speaking about your weekend or what you doing. Like the other day, this student, she loves hair. Now I had this piece strips of weave that I did not comb out, so I brought her in the office. Now I knew her parents are in the middle of a divorce. So she's between both of them. So as she brushed the hair, we started to talk about her hair, and she was just telling me. And then I just gradually went right into it. And I said, so when he goes to work, what do you do? So she said, well, Doc, he's working. Um, he leaves like 4:30 in the morning and to go to work. I said, so when he leaves 4:30, what do you do? She said, well, I'm still in bed sleeping. So I said to her, I said, so he's trusting that you stay in bed. She said, yeah. She said, Doc, I'm not like that. I said, good. I said, because all of us here want to trust you to keep yourself because she's 16. But
Mm.
here it is, a parent is juggling work at that time. And
Right.
she didn't even, and we went into it, and then she started to talk about, so I said, when last you went to church? Because I remember she said, Doc, since COVID, I haven't been. So I said, hold on. You go to the movie? She said, yes, mom. I said, you go out? So she said, yes, mom. I said, so what is stopping you from going to church? I said, tell you what, go to church this weekend for me. I went away. I was away on the island, on another island, and I got a text. She said, Doc, I'm sitting in church right now and telling me this smiling face with a dress. And I was happy because
Right.
though I believe in the school, the home, and that church moral thing. That's just me. I know a lot. You love people
Yeah.
from someplace say, oh no. But that morals,
Right.
I need her to get that
Yeah.
from all of us. All of us have to come together.
Yeah.
And so she went to church this weekend, and I was happy. Now, I wasn't in church, but she was in church. So I was
Yeah.
happy.
Absolutely. And that just speaks to how much they trust you and how much
Yes.
they want to give towards you, and make sure that you're proud of them, because they're doing that to also kind of make you proud. And that's a speaks it's a testament to how much they appreciate your contributions in their lives. But tell us some things about yourself. So I know every conversation that I have with teachers, they spend the entire time talking about their students. So we'll have to be more intentional about talking about you personally. So tell me something about Dr. Campbell. How and why did where did all of this inspiration to become a teacher and to even start your school come from?
I've had on the island, and Lord, if I call a few names, then some will be upset. But I've had at least 5 to 8 excellent, excellent teachers who poured into me, who helped my mother
Mhm.
shape me into who I am today.
Yeah.
You understand? And When I walk in the classroom with all the degrees, to be honest with you, I try to pattern them in the
Right.
classroom, the extra. You know what I mean? Like people would tell you, we walk in with all of our, we walk in with a lot of our homes, our
Mhm.
culture, our identity
Yeah,
shapes who we are when we go in those classrooms.
absolutely.
And now I don't know so much about the energy because sometimes I really think I got that from the Lord. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
do have to take a breather, like I start going, getting a massage here and there. And I had to say to myself, it's all right because every child would take a piece of you. And
Yeah.
it's all right. It's all
Yeah.
right for me to step back and
Right.
smile and say, I'm doing it for me. But even in stepping back, guess what? There are evenings you staring in the ceiling, and I know a lot of teachers could attest to this. You staring in the ceiling, trying to figure out how you're going to reach that child what may be difficult for you to teach
Hmm.
at the same time. Because
Yeah.
no two children are alike. But like I said, I'm just driven to make a difference. I'm
Awesome.
driven to make a difference.
Awesome. I love, love, love it. And I believe that your path would have always led you here. I think, as you said, the energy does come from God. I strongly believe that teachers have a certain grace that is beyond anything that we others have. There's a certain grace on the life of teachers to be able to not only have the energy, but also the empathy and the patience and everything else that goes along with being a great teacher. It's not just transferring information. It is
No,
being
no,
able to connect.
you have to connect. You have to
Yeah,
connect. You
yeah.
have to connect. And you find many people who do not connect,
Mhm.
they have it difficult.
Right.
They're the ones going home every day having a serious
Transfer.
headache
Hmm.
because the minute you say, I am only teaching for the money, well, of course, no teacher could ever get rich off it. So you're
Right.
not teaching for the money. But if you walk in there and you carry 50% that you care and that knowledge alone, then
Mhm.
you're going to get an X. You will have a child what is going to be motivated
Yeah.
to work with you
Yeah.
versus you only going, I'm only in here for the money and I'm coming right out and you're looking at your watch. Like, then you are only in name a
Right.
teacher.
Right. And you'll
Yeah.
never create the level of impact that teachers can actually make in the life of their
No,
students.
no.
We had another teacher the other day just sharing about, one of the things that she really appreciated is that years later, she didn't even recognize the student anymore, but he could have recognized her and really get excited to see her again. And just the reward of knowing that this person who has grown and developed and become and achieved so many great things could remember her out of the blue to run up to her and just say thanks for being the type of teacher that she was back when he was young. And that was some of the incentive for her to continue teaching. And she said this isn't just that one case. There are several students over the years. And I also believe that, in your classroom, when you enter that space, you don't know who you're teaching. You could be teaching the next president. You could be teaching the next doctor. You could be teaching, there's so many paths to these young people that you're
But
pouring into.
you saying it right because guess what? When you say in your classroom, we get so wrapped up with that being our classroom, but the classroom is the students.
Right.
And if
Right.
we remember that
Mm.
always, smooth
Yeah.
sailing.
Yeah.
But they get so caught up in ownership and it's
Right.
not yours.
Yeah.
When we write objective now, you write the students. If you the students will be able to. You understand?
Yeah.
It changed. They are your focus. They're
Yeah.
the priority. Don't
Absolutely.
miss that. And then, no, we can't miss that. At the end of the day, what have you achieved?
Right.
What have you achieved? And you want to be happy.
Yeah.
You want to be happy.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you can save every child? No. And I'm like this. If I'm working with the parent, because you have some parents who, and you got to watch them,
Mhm.
who are not, when they sign their children up, I say that we are all in this together. So you're not just dropping your child off and not
Yeah.
um, doing your part. You have to do your part too, or
Yeah.
this child is not going to succeed.
Right.
I tell them this school is only conducive to the children, to my students, if the parents go hand in hand. They
Yeah.
have to. You have to communicate. I need to know that we're working in this. Yes, you may not be able to teach the lesson, but at least find out from me
Yeah.
what it is you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
That's
Mm.
important. Don't do that. Don't leave this in the school. You leave your child and then wait until we call you all in for parent teacher conference. No, I need to hear from you, and it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't even mind you if you call me every day. Once I have that time to speak to you,
Right.
we good.
Right. Right.
Do not wait until there is an issue and
Right.
it escalates in your house between you and your child before you say, Doc, here's the problem,
Mm.
what is happening.
Yeah.
That will not work. And too many times, too many of our children fall through the crack because the issue starts at home.
Yeah.
They didn't address it at home. They didn't communicate with the school about it. Nor when the school sees it, does not
Yeah.
communicate with the parents. You wait till later. You can't wait until you see that child exploding in your classroom. I'm sure you saw signs.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know the child would normally speaks in your class so much, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden now this child is not talking. Then you
Right.
should know that's the sign going there for you. Hey,
Yeah.
this child, something we need to do.
Yeah.
Let's deal with this.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that we have Melissa here with us. Hi, Melissa. And I know that you're listening in, and I know that I believe it's you have one of your kids that was taught at Dr. Campbell's school, correct?
My daughter was here.
Yeah.
My daughter was here. She graduated last year.
Yes. So tell us from your perspective, the whole environment at Dr. Campbell's school. And I'm saying Dr. Campbell's school because I can't remember the name, but remind me the name of the school and as well as your experience with Dr. Campbell and the school as well.
The school is Alternative Learning Institute. And for me, Dr. Campbell saved not my daughter, she saved my family
Mm.
because I found Dr. Campbell when my daughter was in eighth grade and she was being asked to leave the school that she was in. There was no help offered.
Oh,
We've been going through. She wasn't doing well in school academically, and then she started misbehaving, and I couldn't get any help. Even though I was reaching out before, I couldn't get any help. No one would like help me and tell me what was going on. I said, if something happens in the classroom, you have my cell phone number, help. And so it just went to the point where they were like, we can't help her. And so I was getting so much negative feedback about my daughter that, she was never going to be anything. There's nothing we could
wow.
do. She can't learn. And I was like, so what do you all want me to do? Throw my child in the garbage? I'm like, I know she's a good person, but I knew something was going on. I just needed someone who could help me with her. And I started doing a little homeschooling with her until I found someone, my sister told me about Dr. Campbell. And I went to her on a Sunday to her house. And I brought my daughter with me. And she said, you know what? I got this. Don't you worry about this. And I was like, no, but you don't understand. It's this and this. And she said, I got this.
Right.
And when she took my daughter, it was like around Easter. So I was like, okay, well, we'll bring her for September. She said, no, bring her now. Bring her now. And when she assessed her, we found out that she was at a 5th grade math level, but she was in grade 8. And this was the main class that she was having the behavior problem in. But that wasn't found out. I didn't know. And so from there, she said, you know what? We're going to work on this math first. We're going to get her up to grade level. Her English is fine. And that's what she did. And so she developed a program to help her in her weak areas. And then we saw all those behavior things. She didn't want to look dumb. So she was acting out. And we got her, and now she's in college. She wants to be a writer. She graduated with all sorts of awards, and she was here from 8th grade straight through 12th grade, and I never looked back.
I wouldn't either. I would not go back either. I love this. I love the focus on what the weak areas are. It doesn't, because as you said earlier, Dr. Campbell, each student can't be at the same level in every subject. There are subjects that you're going to struggle with. There are some subjects that just come natural to you, so you ace those subjects. So I love that
That's
perspective and
why
that
I
testimony.
believe in individualized curriculum plan.
Nice.
Every child is different.
Right.
Now it's a lot of work. So a child with me may come struggling with math. So I know that child may need 6 hours with math.
Right.
Now 4 hours is going to be during the school time. So I would ask that parent to bring that child 7:30 in the morning. And because what I did away was I became highly qualified in math too. If I'm going to have curriculum as a base, I felt as if I need to make sure I have so many subjects that I was good enough in to teach my children and bring them up. So with that, and then here at the school, my children, I have an intervention program that I bought through Edmonton called Study Island. So besides them working with the board and the teachers, if I have a child who's not doing well in a particular subject and I'm working with them without them feeling some sort of way, because you know them, they still want to be,
of course,
I would say, you see this English, this is the 5th grade level. And that child will work on that 5th grade level online, also do their language in the classroom. And when they're on, I could see where they are with their program, because everyone has a different program, different level. You will have a child in the 9th grade what may be working at the grade 11 level on the program. So it's not about you having a disability.
Right.
Wherever you are, I need to try and meet you there.
Got it.
Without you understand me, and then let us celebrate your strengths. Because number one, I always believe that every child is gifted. We just have to find their gift and help them see where it's at.
Yeah.
So I have a few students this year would want to study at the University of the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. They're going there. A few boys, but they're into electrical engineering. They want to take up. Now, PTVI is right next door to us. Mm-hmm. And they're running a program. They started in April where the students can do electrical phase 1, 2, and 3. What I did with my children was send them along. I said, listen to me, you could do both programs. These are free. I want you in those programs. So they've already started. And then when they go, because I do believe that technical has to go along. Yeah. Nothing is wrong with both program merging. But I wanted them to have stuff to fall back on. the girls. I say, while you at you be doing you have some would want to study bio and biology and chemistry.
Yeah,
I said a lot of women make money around here doing nails, doing hair, very good money. I say,
absolutely.
you want to fall back on some. So I send them over there.
Nice.
Who said because you are academic that you don't,
Need
that you
some.
said miss out on a trade?
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
having them do both programs.
Yeah.
They go to school
Yeah.
because we need to have our children well versed.
Well, right.
And I believe in it because I never stop my daughter.
Right.
You have to have them be able to fall back on. If this doesn't work, then that needs to work.
Absolutely. Or both of them work together. Because I know that coming up, learning how to do nails and hair kept me through some school because I could pay for certain things myself
There
because
you
I
go.
could do nails in the evening or in the weekend to pay for the things I wanted. So having that extra skill absolutely helps you career wise. And who knows what happens in your
But it
future? You have
also
something to fall back. Yeah.
builds up their self-esteem
Right.
that we're not leaving no child behind.
Right.
Before you go, you leave this place, I need to know where you're going.
Yes.
And then I make sure that we work you where you're supposed to go. Yeah.
Love it. Love. I love everything about your school. I might have to, if I do make kids in the future, I might have to move
Please,
to the
please.
Bahamas
Okay.
to come to your school, or we'll have to have you trademark this system so that more countries can have your system within it. Because I'm definitely sure that there are several students across the Caribbean and across the globe
They
that
need
would
it.
love to learn more. We have several teachers that are also school owners and up and coming school owners. We have um, teacher Victoria Joel. She has I'm calling it a special needs school, but what she calls it is that they're differently abled. And I love that perspective.
I
And I'm
love that too.
Yes, she doesn't call it a special needs school, and she's also coming on the retreat. So I'm looking forward there, not even hoping, I'm looking forward to the two of you connecting as two
Yes,
school
yes.
owners
Because
that can share.
it would be great. Like I first I said, Melissa, maybe they just want teachers. And then I said, hold on, but I spend the majority of my time in the classroom. I don't
Exactly.
leave my classroom. I feel so bad when I see parents come and they say, we looking for the office to speak to the principal. I say, yes, she is. But so sorry, I'm in a class teaching right now. Because I know I don't want to lose out on that part. A
Right.
lot of times people send children to their school because they want to know you're teaching.
Right. True. True.
And
They
if you
trust
good
you.
at if you good at what you do,
Yeah.
then you should be in the classroom.
Yes.
I spend most of my
I'm
time there.
definitely sure that you and Victoria, her name is Victoria Joel. She's from Namibia. She's coming on the retreat as well. I'm sure you two will hit it off. There's several others as well. Looking forward to that connection because one of the goals behind this, alongside, of course, rewarding all the teachers with an experience to just relax and be replenished and everything else, we do also want to create some cross-border relationships,
And
if I
networking.
and exchange and networking because we can always learn new things from each other. So the teachers coming from African nations can learn from the teachers in the Caribbean, and there might be systems that they're implementing that could really work for us in the Caribbean region, or vice versa. So I'm looking forward to that networking opportunity and discussions alongside, of course, building this whole retreat experience. So I am excited to meet you. The days are coming really quickly. So we're working in the background to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But yes, we're looking forward to seeing you in July. And thank you so much for joining the show today. I'm
Thank you for
sure that
letting me
our
share.
Yes, I'm sure our guests and our audience will hear more from you and love to hear your story. We will be sharing more details about you and about your school throughout the next couple of weeks as we continue our campaign. But it was a pleasure to absolutely have this conversation with you. Any final words, shout outs, anything that you would like to say before we close out?
I would just like to say thank you to my parents out there who believe in me, who continue to trust me with their children. And I want to say even thank you to my former parent because it means the world to me when you still have them right here alongside. And no matter what I have a community of parents. What I don't even know if other schools have them, but I have a community of parents. It's always talk. We got you. What do you need now? How can we help you? Oh my God! So I want to thank my parents. I even for this opportunity to be online with you today. And I hope that my story today and my experience that other teachers can learn. But I want to encourage teachers to continue to do their best when
Yeah,
they enter those spaces where those children act, to always teach and to always trust and believe that they can make a difference every
absolutely.
day. Thank you.
Thank you. And to Melissa as well, I know you're here with us. Do you have any final words before we wrap up to this evening? Well,
Not really.
afternoon on your end.
I'm just happy that I got a chance to let everyone meet Dr. Campbell and see what great things she's doing here. And I think it's a wonderful program. And as you mentioned there, I think it's something that can be duplicated in other places, in other
Yeah,
countries, because it's a great system and children are being left behind all over the world.
yeah.
And we just need to know what is the method for saving our children and
Oh,
then
I love
duplicate
that.
it.
Yes. I love that. And we might have to get Dr. Campbell to create a system and teach it all over the world. We'll see what we'll do in the coming years. Because, of course, our organization, we're very vested in supporting educators, first of all. My focus is definitely on the mental health and wellness of educators, giving them opportunities to, one, feel appreciated for all the work that they're doing, but also on the back end of all of that, making sure that you are able to continue serving your community and making sure that you have the nutrition, the fitness, the mental health, and everything else that you need to be able to continue serving. So, sorry, I just had a pop up here on the screen. But nevertheless, we definitely commend you for all your service. And thank you so much again for joining the show. Persons who are interested in learning more about you, they can head over to our website. We are onboarding your details onto the site at the moment. So they will see, they can watch the replay of this recording and as well as other pieces of content that we'll be putting out about you. But yes, we're looking forward to welcoming you in a few weeks from now.
Thank you.
Yes, have a good afternoon because I kept saying evening, but that's just because I'm in Europe at the moment. But yes, have a good afternoon and we look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Take care.
Take care. Good evening, everyone. So, this was our live conversation with Dr. Deborah Campbell from the Bahamas. We thank you so much for joining the show today, and we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to actually be live on TikTok again. So, as some of you know, if you're following us here on YouTube, we are inverting our shows now. So we're doing some live here on YouTube and the others live on TikTok. So tomorrow we'll be back on TikTok again for another live show. And we will be posting more about that show later this evening. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in and being here with us today. Stay up to date and follow us on the links below. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Revitalized Star. So I am your host, Crystal Legrand. Connect with us in one way or the other. We look forward to hearing from you and sharing more details about this event. Just reach out to us. We're available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you again and good night. We would like to say a special thank you to Revitalized Bahamas Ambassador and founders of Shivers Bahamas, Miss Melissa Darville. A special thank you to you for helping us to identify your incredible teacher from the Bahamas to join us and participate in Revitalized's first retreat in Jamaica. We are thankful to all your hard work in helping to not only identify your teacher, but also to assist us in raising the capital necessary to get your teacher to experience this wonderful retreat. We thank all your partners in advance for their contributions and support in helping all of us to make this possible. If anyone needs more information about Revitalize and all our programs, initiatives, how to get involved, or any other details, you can email us, look at our website, schedule a meeting with me, or you can go straight to donating your contributions to helping us bring teachers from across the globe to our inaugural retreat in Jamaica. To stay up to date, follow us at Revitalized Star on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We will have much more details being shared through our social media platforms, so get in touch with us if you need any more information or follow us as we highlight the amazing teachers from across the globe who will be participating in this inaugural retreat. We would like to thank everyone for watching this episode of Revitalize. We will be back tomorrow with the next episode.